Hello again. All right, so we're live. This is Run the Julz podcast production, Hoop and Harm, episode 2. My name, as always, is Pat Julian. I'm here with my co-host and partner, Andrew Barry, all the way from beautiful San Francisco. Barry, say hi to the people.
What's up, everyone? I got invited back for a second go around at this, so see if we can get any. I mean, let's see if we can get some. Let's get better this time. Let's get better.
Always trying to improve. So, as always, this is Hoop and Harm. Hoops are the topic, and harm is the amount of times I'm going to make the bad joke of you having to listen to us talk about it. So, today we were just discussing off the pod that the Celtics are coming down to the wire against a very formidable Oklahoma City team. We'll see if they're going to be able to pull it out with the minute 30 left. They're down about 7, but that's only for the C's fans. we got another great matchup coming up in a little bit. Should be changing over in the next few minutes to Atlanta and the Warriors, which is strikes a chord with Barry's hometown contingency there at the moment.
Right in my backyard.
Yeah. Are you going to be watching that game? You're going to have time to see any of that, or?
I'll probably watch most of the second half. I don't think I'll catch any of the first half, but I'm gonna try to catch. I was gonna try to go. But man, Hawks are good, and tickets, as you can imagine, are getting pretty expensive here. It was pretty cheap to go earlier in the year, and I heard last year was really easy to get a ticket. But man, that's a tough ticket right now. That was tougher than the Giants that I noticed. So when the Giants are making a run right now, that's a tough ticket to have. It's good for them. It's good for the city.
No, it's definitely good for the city. Have you been to Oracle?
I've driven by it. No, I've never been to it.
You haven't been at
I've heard it's a pretty terrible representation of a built NBA arena, but actually their new now this is apparently the Warriors podcast, but their new building they're building in the city is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be so nice, right in the water. That's going to be a spot. But
yeah, I've been following the progress of that stadium since they announced it, and is it still slated for 2017?
I think 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know it had all that glass paneling and all the dope.
There's literally nothing in that area where they are, so that's probably going to take a little bit to get everything all kind of built out.
Okay. As I watched the masked Russell Westbrook just bury a jumper in one of our guys' face, so the C's coming in hot lately.
Yeah.
I think last week we talked that they were kind of on a little bit of a resurgency, and but now we're in a full blown what's going on here? This has all of a sudden become a pretty impressive success story over the past.
Looking back here, this week alone, or this past week rather, took down a Miami team who now everyone is clamoring is going to beat the Cavs apparently because they beat them one time. Apparently now the new talk is that the Heat over the Cavs. Yeah, and then back off that you went to the Grizzlies, and then you went through the formidable trio of Orlando, Indiana, and Philly. But the first two before that were better. We're good.
Right. Indiana's an important win because now I don't know what exactly the standings are. They're probably in flux as of right now too because there's a lot of games being played. But as of a day or two ago, we were tied for the 7th seed with Indiana and Miami. Yeah, it kind of feels like we're not going to get our wish here. We're going to be watching first round basketball.
I mean, you look at what's coming up. They have a little bit of a tough stretch. The next two, they have Oklahoma City tonight. Obviously, got San Antonio. It's tomorrow, no Friday. And then, I mean, it's soft for a bit. You got Detroit, Brooklyn, Miami, and the Knicks. I mean, that's some wins you can probably pull out of that. Playoff teams are beating decent teams, and I mean, Miami's the only team of those three I think is flat better.
Right.
We may see some more wins raining down on us in the next week or two.
It seems so improbable, but it's like it's what's going on. It's out of control. This is a fun team to watch. They all play their asses off.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them do it right now too. It looks like they're gonna fall short, but the whole team is it's almost maddening because this is we have an awesome bench. Like all of our guys are like great 7, 8, 9, 10 guys. They're great in those slots, but we don't have like the, you know, the firstly, definitely the number one or the number two that we need to even be considered a threat at anything. But we've put together, Danny's put together a fantastic crop of guys here, all the way from, Jay Crowder, who you could even consider almost like a poor man's Draymond Green at this point, to like Evan Turner when nobody wanted Evan Turner, to anybody on the squad. GIGI Datome, which we'll get into a little bit later, maybe even. But I don't know. It seems pretty remarkable what they're doing. It's a huge testament to the coach, obviously. Brad's been outrageous with this team, especially after shipping out Rondo and Green, arguably the best two options we had coming into the year. But it's been fun to watch. Now I don't know what'll happen if we get into the playoffs. It kind of feels like we're kind of bound for it now, because I feel as if, unless save for like a Paul George acceleration and reemergence for Indiana, or I feel like Miami's trending the wrong way though. I know like they've been doing well, but they don't have Chris Bosh. We have to kind of lay it all on Dwayne Wade's health, and that's not something I would be comfortable doing if I was a Miami fan. And we're going the right way, so I don't know. We might be watching us versus the Cavaliers, or us versus the Atlanta Hawks. I saw an argument the other day too, which wasn't half bad. The argument that in a weird way, we could be in striking distance of the 6th seed, even if the Bucks continue to kind of decline after that weird Brandon Knight, Michael Carter Williams trade. Did we get the 6th seed, Barry? I don't know.
So here's 2 points on that. One, that the month of April, I don't know if you've looked ahead and seen our schedule in the month of April. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Miami, Toronto, and Cleveland twice in 2 weeks. So I mean, two points to make off that. If the Bucks even ship and they get back to, I don't know if that's possible. We'll see what happens with the Bucks. I think they're overachieving as it is, and I think they may be just finally falling back down to earth. I don't know.
We have them twice too.
We got them twice, so that could either be a good thing if they keep declining, and that's when we take that's when we can kind of strike at that point, or it could be that's a tough April. That's a lot of playoff teams in a short amount of time. That I'm not. That's when I think rubber meets the road, and we figure out that this team maybe isn't quite ready to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
Or, at the exact flip side, if they start winning some games and they get hot, then we can see them as a legit disruptor if they can win, a good portion of those April games.
Right. I like the idea of maybe being in the playoffs more and more. I still don't think we're gonna win a round. There's these people who think like I hear it around like locally and either on people who call on radio stations or either local bloggers or things like that. They're already starting to talk themselves into, Atlanta's not that impressive. Like maybe these guys could push Atlanta to 6 or 7 games, and we'd all be, in for a treat through that. So we're not pushing Atlanta anywhere. We're getting bounced in 5 against Atlanta or the Cavs. So I don't think that's a real thing. Even though there's a lot of homers around here who are beating the drum for that all of a sudden after they've put together a few of these impressive wins, but
do you know what Atlanta's record is versus the Western Conference?
Oh no, isn't it? Aren't they like
20-5, 21-5?
Yeah. That's scary. Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. So I'm just looking at the standings now. We're 3.5 behind Milwaukee, and then 7.5 behind Washington. So we're really looking at a max 6.
Yeah, that's a ceiling.
But I mean, yeah, you get those two Milwaukee. That could be when
head to head. Yeah, head to head. I think, are we a better squad than Milwaukee right now? I think we are.
Right now, definitely.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be too shocked if we took them both of those games. But it has to do with like some of these other crazy games that we have coming up with Cavs twice and
Yeah.
San Antonio in the very near future, who are coming on now, and which is weird. Why does everybody count San Antonio out? It's like the trap everybody falls into every year, and then like, oh wait, Popovich is still the best coach of the league, and he's been toying with everybody until St. Patrick's Day, and he turns it on. So
They're
it's
getting counted out in a year. They're still 42 and 20. Like they still have 40, 41, 42 wins. Like
yeah, it's out of control. It's borderline irresponsible, but this is the NBA. This is what happens. Um, so kind of speaking to the Celtics a little bit, I've been very happy by the looks of what Danny's been able to do, like building this team, instilling the right guys to come up with the right team chemistry. The right coach is obviously a big deal for that, but still not having to ship out any of the pieces of the war chest. War chest meaning the draft picks, the trade exceptions, or the veteran contracts or whatnot. So, or the cap space rather. So I've been very impressed by what we've been able to assemble. And I've been listening to a lot of people around the league being like, well, how are they doing this? How is Danny getting this done? Like, it seems as if I heard a lot of people were confused when Danny traded Jeff Green away for a first rounder, and then used that first rounder to trade for Isaiah Thomas, and they're like, what the hell is that move? Like, why don't you just do 1-for-1 or like, whatnot, or why couldn't you just get that done? I think a big part of why we're having success is Danny just views all of these different pieces as their assets. They're not one equals another. They're just like, oh, I'll take that, like, and then I'll flip it for something totally unrelated later, which is a good way to go about it. Now, I think we can get into a little bit like the different methods of rebuilding. I know we were talking a little bit earlier today in email about Denver Nuggets and what they're doing. We can even talk about the Sixers a little bit too. But have you been happy with the way we've been rebuilding this team so far?
So, two things. One, good article today by I think it was Jay King talking about a lot about the Celtics bench, and it's been Crowder. That's kind of what he points it to. Is Crowder is our you called him a poor man Draymond. Jay King gets a little bit more out of poor man's Tony Allen.
Okay.
So just sort of how they figured out the right way to use Crowder, kind of position this guy that flows and defends his butt off. That's really when that bench came together. So I know I talked last week about how he used leads, and maybe it's a little bit of that's Brad. But maybe it was just you didn't have the bench figured out, and now you do. And I mean, I think it's all clicking now. So
Yeah.
So I guess the point is you look at this roster, and it's not necessarily where you have the starting five. There isn't a great player on there that you'd start on a championship team, maybe. But you look at the pieces that are on the bench that are just sitting there that Danny found. That's when you get into like when you're a piece or two away. You don't need to worry about the small pieces. You just go get the big pieces, which is what Danny is pretty good at. Stockpiling those assets to go get a piece, while kind of silently building up the little pieces.
Yeah.
So I'm very pleased. I have ultimate blind faith in Danny, but I just think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I've been happy with what we've been able to assemble too, on the cheap too. We haven't given up anything either for a lot of these guys, which is really great. I mean, we had to pay Avery maybe a little bit more than people would have originally estimated. But with the TV money coming in, obviously with the TV money deal, everything is going to be overly inflated, so we can make up for it on the other end. But beyond that, like, there's nobody on this team who we're paying an arm and a leg to. Even our best player, Isaiah Thomas, he has a very friendly deal.
Very, very friendly.
Yeah. So, and it should be noted too. I didn't even mention this. They went on this great run, pretty much without Isaiah Thomas playing the past
Hmm.
few games. So um, they haven't had to give up a lot to put together a solid cast of characters around hopefully one or two guys that will make up the real strength of the talent of this team. Um, so I've been really happy with what Danny's been able to do. I think we're in the second year of a rebuild, and this is very encouraging to be like pushing for a playoff spot, and to potentially even being in the playoffs after only this is the second year of
Hmm.
doing this, and it's been barely achieved through the draft. I mean, the only pieces we've really got for real are Marcus and I mean Sully and KO kind
Yeah.
of, but Sully was already a holdover grandfathered in, and um, I don't know. I've been very encouraged. I think there's only uh, good things to come over the summer, hopefully. I don't know what they'll do with the draft, where their position will be. But the way they've been rebuilding this team, I think, has been very responsible, very balanced too, to the point where we haven't given up something just to go after somebody flashy or go get a piece that doesn't fit. Um, yeah.
Who do you see? Who do you see sticking around? Like, who do you see next year? Who do you see on this roster? If you were to kind of build it and tear it, like next year we're a championship team.
Um, I, s- I definitely would. I think they like Crowder a lot. I think
Hmm.
he's going to stick around. Obviously Isaiah, obviously Marcus. Um, I think somebody who's very much in the wind right now would be Sullinger because they're succeeding right now without him. We've had problems with his ability to stay on the court. Also have had problems with him off the court. And I think now if you can get something for him, just move him. Um, I'm not that in love with his game. I really like his ability to get rebounds and whatnot. But if for some reason we can get a Kevin Love here over the summer, which I'm not saying that is that realistic, but I think you move Sullinger for new parts on the dollar. Um, and then anybody else who really sticks out in my brain, um, I don't know. Like, there's nobody on this team right now who I think like, oh, you can have him. He's dead weight. Like, if we still had like Marcus Thornton, you can have him. Like, whatever. But there's all these guys are all kind of chip in a good amount where they're needed. Like Jerebko is pretty good. Datome, he's still definitely a bench guy, but he's been playing his ass off with the opportunity that he's been given, um, and is rapidly becoming a cult figure in Boston. Did you ever watch Felger Maz out here?
Yo, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Jimmy Sleeves? Jim Murray. He would kind of fill in sometimes in the update chair when Beetle wasn't around.
Yeah.
Bertrand. So Bertrand has since moved to the midday show with Zolak,
Mhm.
and Jimmy Sleeves is now in the headline chair, and he's trying to get this off the ground, and because already anytime Gigi touches the ball, people are like screaming like Gigi or whatever, and Jimmy Sleeves is trying to get because I guess Gigi did it like once or twice when he would score. He'd throw up this like the Italian like what's the matter like type of deal, and I pray to God that gets off the ground because that would be beautiful to see Gigi running up the court doing this to the doing this to the crowd like he's just I don't know down like the basket like two shots of espresso and then moved on, but. Um, I don't know who. That's a digression. Who on this team do you feel as if is definitely needed for the pieces going forward?
So if you make me pick, let's say I pick four, I would pick. I think Isaiah's a good piece on a good team. I think Avery. I don't think you need Avery Bradley on a championship team. He's a good thing to have, kind of a smaller guy that can scrappy defend, shoots a bit. I don't think he's a big time bench player in a good team. He can be. I don't think he
I
needs to.
agree.
I love what I see out of Zeller. I think Zeller's gonna be a baller on a good team.
Yeah.
I hear you on Sully. I think he's. I want him on my team though.
That's fair.
Yeah. I want. I think let's see if he gets over the maturity quickly. I hope so.
Yeah.
But I want him. And you know what? That's three good pieces, and I think that's a good little rotation we can get. You know, those are the teams I would take on like a championship team next year. Are we gonna do it with the likes of Kelly Olynyk and Phil Pressey off the bench? Or is that
Who's more important to you right now, Kelly Olynyk or Tyler Zeller? I know my answer.
Ooh. That's a great question. What is your answer? I don't know if I have an answer to that right now.
Mine has become Tyler Zeller. I think he's almost more athletic than KO just from the eye test. I know KO has better shooting, but I think the pick and roll game is far stronger with Zeller than it is with KO. He just came. I'm not doing the prisoner of the moment thing where he just came off that 26-point performance, but I think he's a very good fit to what we're doing here, I want to see him stick around. I think he's a great. I'd much rather, to have the starter be more of a get up the floor, up and down rim defender. But I think he is invaluable when it comes to playing like crunch time minutes down the stretch. A 7-footer. I'm not that sold on Kelly Olynyk in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Ainge just stole Tyler Zeller. So if you want to go if you want to go business on and go return on asset here, I mean, I think we traded someone for Olynyk, right? Someone else traded for him.
We traded up, I believe.
Yeah. So you got nothing. Tyler Zeller was free, and he's performing, man. If he's your you say he's the first or second big man on the bench, I think you got a good thing going.
No, definitely, yeah.
I mean, so I'm reading about him. Do you think he needs to get a lot bigger? Do you think he needs to get strong? Do you think he's got strength in it, or do you like the way he plays right now? Do you think he can evolve from there?
Are we talking Zeller or Olynyk?
Yeah. Actually, not both.
I think we could put some size on Zeller, but I don't think you can put much more size on Olynyk just because I feel like he plays more finesse ball than Zeller. Zeller definitely has finesse ball, but I think he also is more willing to be down in the paint, and he's certainly not bodying guys down there, but I think he can use his footwork and find out ways to still get his post-up game going and whatnot underneath the rim. So I think you could put size on him. I don't know how much it would take, but I wouldn't say as much with Olynyk. I think Olynyk is he's certainly not a finished product. That's not fair, but I feel like I already know what Olynyk is. Somebody said, and this kind of freaks me out. Somebody said Olynyk, he could just be like Bargnani. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that. But I don't
tell you how I feel about that. Negatively. Very negatively.
Yeah, especially if you're a New York fan. So I'm a little worried about the KO experiment. I've already on record I'm saying that I think he brings the team swag way, way down, which is a problem for me. But I think I certainly don't need to ship him out. But at this juncture, I'm more interested in preserving Tyler Zeller on this squad than KO.
I don't think you need both of them.
Mm-mm.
They're both 10-5. Get you some more, each, different nights. But I think they're two similar bodies, two similar dudes. I don't think you need both of them. I think KO is more.
Yeah.
I think people are gonna, if you want to call him Bargnani, someone else is gonna fall in love with him and give him another shot. I think Zeller kind of found his niche here. I think it's gonna be a good spot for him. I think someone else is gonna be willing to give something up for KO.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a very good point. I think KO is more attractive to move too, because he's younger. People still remember, looking at him in their draft profiles of their GMs around the league, and they're like, "Oh, we really liked him," and now he's come along a little bit. I think we can get more out of him than they got out of him in Boston. Like, I think that's a real thing. I think he's more of a sexier trade than Zeller. We'll see. I mean, but that's a good point. I think we could get more for KO and be in an okay place by just having Zeller. Yeah, I would say Zeller, and I think. I don't know.
While we're on this topic of rebuilding, what did you think of what happened in the Big D
Denver? I thought it was pretty crazy. It's not like we've never seen that before, but for the front office just to be like, no, you're sitting those guys. Like, it doesn't matter, who you're playing or whatever. They told the interim head coach there that just sit those guys. And I think I read the article, and what did it say? Like, they asked Kenneth Faried for comment. And he was like, I have no comment about being sat. Like, everybody's visibly pissed about sitting, which is either resting them or whatever for health reasons, but it's obviously just as an acceptance of where they're at in the lottery and wanting to improve that by getting higher in the lottery. I don't like that move. I don't think that move gets rewarded either. I think there are basketball gods, and the basketball gods don't reward that kind of behavior. I don't know why the basketball gods have shined down so favorably on Cleveland on so many years, but it could be because of the LeBron treatment they got. So if the gods really exist, I don't think they reward that type of blatant, unapologetic manipulation of the draft seeding. I'm not very comfortable with it, and I don't think it will benefit them in the end. Who knows if they're going to continue to do this more and more, but what did you think of that strange move?
Two things. One, I don't feel bad for a single Nuggets player who quit on Brian Shaw.
Fair.
Two, is the team. I think it's funny because I think this is things that Felger and Maz or other top radio fodder. They talk about things like this. You guys should bench. If you guys are winning, take some guys off the court and get a couple losses so we can tank more. And then the Nuggets actually did it, and now it's like, oh shoot. They were 6-2, I think, or 6-3 in the last bunch of games, and all of a sudden they're winning this game and it's 6-6. So I have a hard time feeling bad for the Nuggets. I think this is a fairly. I want to call it a Bush League move because it's just business as usual in the NBA kind of thing. But
it feels like a Nuggets move.
It's just like really, like you ask the coach. You ask Ken Freed about wrestling. He goes no comment. Melvin Hunt, the new coach, says they're not resting their players. So you think 1-1 here, the front office is making the call down to the bench saying that's Freed to sit Chandler. Just. It's like the stuff that talk radio about to talk about. And it actually happened. Like, can you imagine if Brad Stevens just sits Isaiah Thomas and Zeller down the stretch of a 2-point game and during this streak? Like, Felger and Maz would lose their shit.
Yeah, I think Brad's head would explode too, because I think we've talked about how much this guy cares about winning and how I think he goes home and tells his kids to shut up as he sits in his den and like goes over the tape of if Marcus should have cut left when he should have cut right, and I think he goes into that into the wee hours of the morning. So I don't think that would ever happen here. Plus, I don't know. I feel like um, that's a good point too. Those guys, I can't believe the Brian Shaw thing went the way it did. Um, I'm a big fan of Brian Shaw. I think he's a good coach. So I don't really know why we didn't just couldn't figure it out in Denver. But so I don't feel too bad for those guys. But when your entire squad is basically like uh, up for grabs, and the only guy who you really can't, that they're gonna hang up on you for is Yusuf Nurkic. We got a problem.
Hmm.
Like you just got Nurkic. Nurkic is great. He's dope. I'm a fan of him, but he shouldn't be the only untouchable on that squad, and that's just how bad that team has performed this year. So you're performing badly. Now your front office is saying like, listen, we know you guys are in the high lottery, so we're just going to sit you down and force you even higher. Doesn't seem like a good precedent to send.
It's just the wrong way to go about it, honestly.
Yeah. Speaking of wrong ways, how do you feel about the way Philly has gone about things so far? Because they're kind of like they're a weird foil to us.
Hmm.
They're doing things very similarly, but it's like they've taken the concept that we're running with, but are getting a little bit out of control with it. Like they're just flipping, like without a real plan in place. I don't know exactly what Sam Hinkie's end move is. I don't know how we're gonna do Joel Embiid and Nerlens Noel together. Who they're gonna bring in this summer? It could be like Emmanuel Mudiay. Um, which could be interesting. I hope it's not Jahlil Okafor, but who knows? How do you feel about that weirdness in Philadelphia?
So, uh, Bill Simmons has a big theory that Hinkie is just running this thing as like a pyramid scheme, so that way he can. I don't know if you heard them talk about this. So he can
I
just.
have, I have.
It's like, oh wait, we're so bad, you can't expect much next year, but we're gonna get that top pick, and then he just does this perpetually till everyone figures out, oh, no, you're just gonna be bad every year, and just keep like banking on this premise of that, next year it's gonna be together. Because I bet roster doesn't make any sense. They're trading Carter Williams. What do you like? I don't know. Plan is. It's just, right now it's just to be bad and hope you get the first pick, I guess, because it doesn't seem to be there's really much of a rhyme or reason to who they're picking.
Right. I almost didn't mind the MCW trade because I'm not that wild about him anyway. I think he had a good year, but amidst a horrible, like an unprecedentedly bad crop of rookies. So I think I don't really know exactly what he is, or and for them to move him, I didn't have too much of a problem with. But they didn't get what they get back from really.
I'm
Like
just looking that up. I don't even remember.
I want to say it was like a pick. I mean, we know that uh they got JaVale McGee for like a cup of coffee, and then sent him on his way. But it seems like that's a big asset they should have cashed in more on. It could be I want to say it could be a kind of a higher draft pick. I'm not sure which. There's that Lakers draft pick that's floating around for this year. I don't know if the Suns have it. I don't think it's the Sixers, but
It's yeah. So it is the Lakers Protect 2015 pick.
it is okay.
Yeah.
That's a pick. That's a pick too. It's that could go a very interesting way, and then they could cash in big on that one. But it seems as if their strategy doesn't have too much of a rhyme or reason, and it's almost as if they're just totally committing to the draft only, and because at least we're looking to maybe acquire people in trades or try hard to sign people in the offseason, free agents. We know that's a tall task, but it's almost as if I haven't heard like any bit of any word coming out of Philadelphia about them caring about signing big names because they just seem to only care about Tankapalooza and drafting the next big name.
I guess my hesitation with trading Carter Williams is that it. No, not saying they're the same players or anything, but it turns into like a Chauncey Billups situation where this team is just going to give up on this kind of, he's an anemic kind of point guard, kind of tall, just kind of a weird body for a point guard in the league. You give up on someone like unique like that, had a great year, obviously last year, granted, garbage crop of rookies that were in there, but he's still had a good year. He's playing pretty well, and I think he's going to start blossoming with the Bucks. That'd be my hesitation to trading someone like Carter Williams coming off such a great year, is that it's just going to blow up in your face when you give up on a guy that early.
Yeah. And now the Bucks have like a weird crop of the same dude.
Always.
All these like freak guys who are wicked long in length, arms go to Mars, and they're just these it's like we're defending the perimeter, and that's all we care about. Which is an interesting because now they have what? They have Giannis, they have MCW, they have I don't know if Jabari fits under that category.
A little bit. Miles Plumlee, like, just a bunch of lanky bros.
Yeah, like Henson is another one like that. I'm missing other names, I'm sure, but I don't know. I'm also kind of surprised that Jason Kidd signed up for Michael Carter Williams. I feel as if that's not something that he would have picked, but what do I know? Maybe he sees something, or maybe he got saddled with him. Who knows? It was a front office move, but I don't know. I feel as if the Celtics are rebuilding properly, and it's reflecting as such, where we're watching this Oklahoma City game, and they're actually in it towards the end, and it's good. It's a positive thing. The bit parts are there already, and that's fantastic, because it's almost equally as hard as building the right squad around the superstars as it is to getting the superstars in the league. So, but really encouraged. There's other teams in the league who I think should be paying attention to what we're doing, and I mean, obviously they don't have the assets we have, but it's going to be scary when all of a sudden we just, steal a guy out from under somebody by, like let's say they're a restricted free agent and we just come in and take them. I'm thinking about Kawhi Leonard maybe. I think the Kevin Love thing is kind of a long shot still because I still think he's going to end up in LA, but I don't know. I've been very happy with the way we've been rebuilding the squad. I don't think we have the first two guys or three guys who should be the top bills of talent, but I mean, we're talking about playoff basketball right now, which is fucking absurd. So
yeah, I mean that's. I think they set themselves up with the money that next year is the year you can get a couple guys. You can maybe say go the restricted free agent route and get a mid-max or get a max guy, and then you probably have the flexibility to do it again the year after because there's almost no money in the books the year after that. So I mean, they don't have all these rookies that are on their rookies. I mean, they have a lot of young players, but they've done a nice job acquiring only a couple. Not going nuts and acquiring 3 or 4 a year, and then all of a sudden that'll salary come 3 years down the road. Like, they've done a good job gradually letting these contracts expire, and Danny's done a good job picking up the guys with the right term of contracts. So that way next year, you can grab one guy in the year after that, you're going to have 1 or 2 more. You get so much money in 2 years from now. I'll take my green shades off. Right now, I think that they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I've been encouraged. So, you're gonna bounce soon. So I guess we could just leave it on this. If we land in the playoffs, what seed do you think we are, and who do you think we're playing?
I think likelihood is that we are the 8th and playing the Hawks.
Okay.
Which I think is that what it's at right now? I think I'm pretty sure we're at the peak for the Hawks right now.
How many games?
5.
It's 5. Yeah, I think it's 5 too. Um, I think it's I think they're in the style of what we like to do, like
Mhm.
play real hard and then lose at the very end. But I think it's still the Hawks, and I still think it's just the Hawks in 5. Um, but I think it'll be really a good learning experience. I mean, I think I listened to it might have been Simmons or something talking about Ibaka because he recently bumped into him at South by Southwest or something, and they were talking about the 2012 loss in the finals, and Ibaka was saying we just weren't ready, like, we weren't experienced enough, like we hadn't had enough time in the playoffs to kind of
Mhm.
know what to do down the stretch and crunch time. So I think there's a lot of value in playing uh, in the first round against a really strong team in the Hawks, learning what to do and what not to do down the stretch, especially for people like Marcus, especially for people like Isaiah Thomas, who's I don't think he's ever had a lick of playoff experience either. So for a lot of our good core guys that we want to bring forward, this is going to be really important for them, hopefully, and really important for Brad too. I think that's something that can't be talked about enough.
I think the big thing is going to be Brad. I'd love to see him get some. I mean, now I'm excited about it. I'm completely done at 180 from last week, but now I'm excited about maybe seeing him in the playoffs. But no, I think that we talked about it for a while. This isn't quite the finished roster, obviously. So I think it's more important for that coach to get a couple playoff games under his belt. I mean, you're not gonna like learn how to be a playoff coach in one playoff series, but you get that first feel of it, and you understand, the days, weird little things, like what a game day feels like. It's a playoff game. What a playoff home crowd sounds like. Just little things that you just want to get that out of the way. They get their ass kicked, they get their ass kicked, but let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I do need to go pretty soon, but I want to next week. Let's put it on the note. Let's see where the Thunder are next week with the weeks without Ibaka and see what they're doing, because that makes nearly my prediction of them getting anywhere near a championship.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to tell. Would Kevin be closer then, maybe?
I think so, but I think you lose so much losing Ibaka. I think that team just then they become not really built to win a championship anymore. I think he's an integral part of that championship.
Yeah, yeah, I think they're out of the running. Our core 4 gets blown up if Ibaka's blown up, so it'll be interesting to see. We can check back next week and see what's going on with that. But I'll say, I don't know if
Getting crazy?
if it's just no, I'm not getting too crazy, but it might be the St. Patrick's Day hangover from yesterday, or my banners hanging behind me.
There
But
it is.
I feel as if we could somehow squeak 6. We could squeak this, the Hawks in 6, because I think the way they're playing at home too right now, dude, is incredible. The last time they lost at home was to the Warriors, and of course I was at that game. And
Naturally.
they haven't, yeah, of course, and they haven't lost since at home. So I think the crowd is getting really big back into it and everything, and give the city a little bit of playoff basketball. I think they'll help kind of put some life into the team and will them to win one more game that I think they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say it's the Hawks too, but I'm gonna give them 6 and see
All right.
what happens. Yeah, but it's 5 is probably the more intelligent bet, but yeah. But it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to watch. All right.
Yeah.
So I think we're both gonna run. I'm gonna watch a little bit more of this Steph Curry Atlanta Hawks action. Scout our opponent going into April and May. But yeah. So we're gonna do this again next week. We're usually gonna do this on Tuesday or Wednesday. We're just gonna be decided on when we're both available. But it's usually in the beginning of the week. For everybody who's not watching, who wants to set their watch by what we're doing. And
I do. I
um,
do.
yes, yeah. Uh, this has been Hoop and Harm, a Run the Jewels production, episode 2 out of many, going into and beyond the NBA season into the summer. We're going to be continuing to do this as much as possible. Give you these flaming hot takes that I know it's really hard to handle, everybody out there to listen to. But anyway, for Andrew Berry, my name is, as always, is Pat Julian. This has been Hoop and Harm for Run the Jewels. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll
Northeastern.
be back soon. Northeastern soon, yeah, in the big dance. We're gonna start it up soon. Maybe we'll come back with a little of that next week.
If you love Boston, you're cheering for a Northeastern upset because that's your only chance for a championship this month.
Have they got an opponent yet?
They're playing Notre Dame.
Oh, I can totally get down with cheering for
Thank
them
you.
over Notre
Let's
Dame.
get on the
Yeah,
let's hop on.
yeah, yeah. I got a little Northeastern connection anyway, but I'll explain that in a second. Yeah. So go Northeastern, go Celtics. This has been Hoop and Harm, Pat and Barry. Have a good week, guys.
Later, guys.